Hey, Watersports and Tour operators, it's Dustin Miller from the PPC Pros doing this quick video about water sports for Google Ads or Google Ads for water sports. So basically, what I want to do is go over a quick case study slash example of a client we've had for a few years now. I want to take you back in time to when they first started with us, see a little bit beforehand, a little bit after. And the reason for this video is twofold. Number one is to show you that we do a pretty good job for water sports and tour operators. That's pretty obvious. Number two, though, is to also give you a quick mindset shift. I said that wrong. As far as Google Ads is concerned, some of the questions I get a lot about Google Ads has to do with the cost and whether it's too expensive or will it work or how do you make it work or, how much you should spend, how much you should budget. And I want to answer those questions very, very simply toward the end of this video. So let me just go ahead and jump right into what we're able to do for this particular client. And I'm taking you back here. We're looking at right now a date range of back in summer of 2019. So this wasn't last year where it was just crazy, and this year was just crazy for everybody. I will show you some more recent stats, but this is basically showing you two things. It's showing you what a client was doing on their own, running their own Google Ads, and then right after we got started, how things changed. And it also is something I wanted to highlight the fact that this person actually knew a pretty decent amount about Google Ads. I mean, they weren't an expert per se, but they did a decent job, and better than most other operators that I talk to, or even business owners in other industries that I talk to. So this wasn't somebody who didn't know anything, so somebody who knew a decent amount, but we were still able to hopefully shift some things to make it work a little bit better for them. So really quickly, I just want to compare two different timelines. So we started our new campaigns with this client right in this little middle part here. I think it was May 17th. So what you can see right here, this blue line is basically the cost for a phone call, which was booking. There was no online bookings being tracked back at this time. And then the red line here is the number, like the quantity of those phone calls per day. And you can see that he was cresting somewhere between, really good days like $100 per call. Some days it was $200 and change per call, and he would get a handful of calls, not even a handful of calls a day. So it's kind of a low number. Right around here where we started, those numbers completely inverted, and we started getting a lot more calls for a lot less. So if you look down here, you're going to see that we basically, I'm showing a few months or a month and a half or so while they were running their campaign, and then an equal amount of spend for our new campaign. So you can see this is their old campaign. They spent about $4,400 over that period, so almost 2 months. They got about almost 50 phone calls, so not horrible. They were paying about $90 per phone call, so it's kind of high. This is for pontoon rental. So when you have pontoon rental and you're booking it out for $200 to $300, maybe a little bit more, a $90 phone call is a pretty high price unless you're going to book pretty much everybody that calls you, which, you could probably book a lot of them, but you're not going to book all of them. It's just how it goes. Our campaign, our new campaign that we set up that started right around here, you can see in this time range we spent just under the $4,400, so almost $4,300, but we generated 202 phone calls. So we spent almost the same amount, a little bit less, and we generated 4 times as many bookings, right? Or 3 times more bookings. And we did that for a phone call cost about $21. So we were able to cut that cost down about 70%, and it happened almost overnight. And you can see right here the red line being how many calls we were getting, and the blue line being what our costs for those calls were. I mean, this week we were at $14. This was the very first week of the campaign. And some weeks it was higher, some weeks it was lower, but it averaged over this period of time somewhere around, $21 per call. So what does that mean? Does that mean we're awesome and this guy is horrible? No, it doesn't. It just means that we were able to find some areas, which is basically the big takeaway for you guys. If you're running your own Google Ads or you're thinking about running your own Google Ads, I would honestly tell you, you can try to do it yourself, but reality is, we do this every day. And whether, you work with somebody like us or another agency who does this, if you're not a Google Ads expert, you're not willing to invest the time into the training and keeping up with all the changes that are going on, plus run your business, it's way better to give it to somebody else. So this is that second part of the conversation about, the cost. Is it too expensive? How much should I spend? Everything like that. Guys, if you're going to try to do it yourself, I would say start with a very small budget, because if you don't understand the nuances of Google Ads, you're probably not going to see the best return on your investment. if you're going to invest in having an agency or consultant or somebody else run your ads for you, I would say give them enough to work with. So for most people, if you're trying to run in, I guess, say an average market for Google Ads based on the traffic cost, which could be anywhere, in this case it says 90 cents and $1.35. I'm going to show you more recent date range here in a minute. It could be $2 to $3, $4, could be higher. Depends on your market, depends on what your tour, your rental, whatever your marketing is. But I would say somewhere around a $1,500 budget, $2,000 or more would be a good starting point. That might sound like a lot of money. It's only a lot of money if you don't make anything back. So let me just show you the last 30 days. Well, before I do that, you can see we did 200 phone calls, which you might say, well, how many of them were real phone calls? Enough that this client was happy. So it was a good number. But I'm going to show you now with online, with bookings online. So now there's a Fair Harbor integration with the website. So there's online bookings that are happening, and there's still phone calls. So, not everybody who comes to your website is going to book online. A lot of them do, not all of them. We're focusing more these days on online bookings because it's just easier for this client to get an online booking and not have to worry about talking to them or calling them back or answering questions. If they book online, that's what we're focusing on. So in the last 30 days here, you can see we spent about $4,800 and generated $24,500 in online bookings. That doesn't include all the phone calls. It's online bookings. We're now coming out of our season, so this number's kind of trending down. But the bottom line is that, again, how much should your budget be? Well, we're putting in $1, we're getting about $5 and change out. Okay, if those numbers work for you, you want to spend as much as you can to still achieve those results. Can we scale it back and maybe become a little bit more profitable? Yeah, we can. And we're going to be doing that very soon here because the season's over. But the point of it is that you can, don't look at it as, well, I have to spend $1,500. Think of it as, I'm going to spend $1,500 or $2,000, or in this case, he spent almost $5,000, doesn't include our fees. So let's call it $5,500, $6,000, something like that, to get $24,000 back. If those numbers work for him, then it's not too expensive, right? He's putting in $5,000 or $6,000 to get back. Possibly, with phone calls, maybe it's closer to $30,000. It's something to that effect. So if you're putting in $1,500, you're getting nothing out, or you're putting in $1,500, you're getting $500 out, then of course it's going to be too expensive. You should not spend any more money on that. You should really revisit what you're doing and make sure there's not something completely wrong here. But if you're able to put in $1, get 5 or 6 out, or 8 out, or sometimes for some of you guys, even getting $4 out is just fine, then I would say put in as much budget as you can to get that return until you start seeing it go away. So you can't, this thing is not unlimited. You can't just spend $100,000 in a week and get, 5x back. You're obviously not, that's not going to work. It's based on how many people are looking. It's based on your inventory. How many people can you reasonably book today or tomorrow or whatever, depending on the length of time between a phone call and when people actually want to get out on the water in this case. But think of it that way. If you can put in, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month and get back $30,000-ish, something like that, 25, 30, whatever your numbers are, and that number works for you, then I would say start smaller, $1,500 to $2,000, and then incrementally work your way up until you find out where that sweet spot is between what you're spending, what you're getting back, and that you're happy with it. If you're already running Google Ads, you're not seeing this kind of result, or you're not seeing anything even close to it, or you're not even tracking anything, which most of you guys, unfortunately, are not even tracking anything, so you have no idea how well it's working. We do offer a complimentary Google Ads audit, where we get in here and we take a look at the account, see if there's a way we can help you. There's no obligation to work with us after that. I'm just honestly happy if I get to meet some of you guys and put you on the right path, and maybe you know somebody who does need our help later on. Even if we don't work together, it's fine. This client, we actually did that same process with. We went over an audit, we found a few areas of opportunity, and as you can see, the results speak for themselves. We were able to cut his cost per phone call down by 70%, basically overnight, and get 4 times as many phone calls for the same budget. So, I mean, am I going to guarantee that for you? No, not necessarily, but it just means we're going to follow the same process that we use to hopefully find some wins for you and, be able to explain it to you so you can do something with it yourself, or, hire somebody else or hire us. I mean, might as well hire us, but it's just my sense. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I just want to go over this quick case study and this quick idea that Google Ads can work for you, and have a mindset shift as to not looking at what the cost of something is. Look at the return that you're getting from that cost. And some of you guys get that, but a lot of you guys don't seem to get that. You're still thinking about, I have to spend money. Yes, if you have a business, you have to spend money to make money a lot of the time. If you've been able to run a business and not do that, well, then God bless you, but you probably can't scale that, all right? There's probably not a way to scale that. So Google Ads can be great for scaling and for growing beyond what your free strategies can do for you. So hope that helps. If you have any questions, let me know. Thanks.